Sandeep Pasant. He is the head of sales and business development at Flat Group India. He got more than 14 years of experience in the field of providing HVAC solutions, including chillers, air handling units, precision AC, free cooling units to various industrial and commercial applications. He is also a mechanical engineer and a certified data center professional, an Indian Green Building Council accredited professional and Green Eco-Friendly Movement certified professional. He is an active member of ISHRE and Rotary International Bangalore. Mr. Sandeep will deliberate upon free cooling HVAC systems. So, delegates, let's welcome Mr. Sandeep.
Yes, I am Sandeep Vasant. Apart from being a mechanical engineering CDCP, IGBC and GEM-CP member of ISHRE and Rotary, I take care of sales, service, and marketing for a company called Flat Group. They are a premium into air handling units, fan, and precision air conditioning. There are three verticals in Flat Group. We are a German-based brand, and we have a factory in Greater Noida where all the solutions of air handling unit fans and precision air conditioning units are assembled and catered. We have a large segment and we are a premium brand in pharma, data center, commercial building, name it, we are there in every facility. And we do have factories outside India as well, catering to Asia Pacific region as well. So I head the sales, marketing and service, specifically for the vertical of precision air conditioning at Flat Group. With that, I would go to the next slide. Yes, the entire topic is on energy efficiency and all that. I would request, it's an humble request that all of us take the pledge of sustainability. What is sustainability? Sustainability means meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of future generation. Yes, India as RPM has taken the pledge. India has taken the pledge at COP 2026 that we go net zero emission by 2070. I'm sure before that we should aim for that. And IGBC on the world and on the Earth Day, there is a mission of net zero by 2050. I'm sure all of us should take that pledge and drive towards that. What are the action plans? The action plans are very simple. Plant more trees, go from an active cooling to a passive free cooling. I'll talk on free cooling in today's slide and today's presentation. Reuse, reduce, recycle, rainwater harvesting. It's been raining for the last 2-3 months. I live in a city in Bangalore. And as per reports and studies conducted, if every home, IT building, workstation does a rainfall harvesting at every home, we will have enough rain for our future generation. But current situation, we have a rain problem and we have a water problem at every household. So rainwater harvesting should be done by each one of us. Net zero energy building, net zero emission, zero waste. So let's take the pledge of net zero sustainability at the home we stay and also at the office and the factory. I would like to quote unquote what Gandhiji said: the earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not any man's greed. Why are we talking about sustainability? Because as per reports says, a recent report says that by 2050, 685 million people in 570 cities could face 10% decrease in fresh water. That's like a astonishing number, but before that, we need to get into net zero emission, net zero building and sustainability. So with that report and studies, let's get into the agenda. I would kind of, considering the time limit, I kind of cropped on to number one, key jargons of the cooling system, HVAC system, energy sustainability of the HVAC system. We will look at that. What are the right temperatures to be maintained by the HVAC system? We will look at that. And then we kind of deep dive into free cooling units, both with direct, indirect, and the free cooling chillers. So on the cooling unit per se, I think we had earlier speakers talking on refrigeration and the VRV. What's very important as we purchase any cooling equipment is the energy efficiency ratio, which is basically COP into 3.516. What is it? It basically defines the power consumption by the equipment. Simple math, higher the COP, it is better, it is more efficient. Then we also look at the part load. How efficient are these equipment while we run at part load? And there are two things. One is the sensible heat ratio, SHR, which is the math of gross sensible by gross total. Total is the latent load plus the sensible. All the close control units or the precision air conditioning units which goes into data center would be close to 0.95 to 1. Any comfort AC would be around 0.65 to 0.7, catering to the latent load. And then we have factors like PUV, which kind of defines into the data center, where you also have the cooling. To kind of pull out certain numbers, as I said, the COP is the math of 3.516 divided by IKW per ton, power consumption divided by time, higher the better. So this is something you need to check before. Again, there is an ASHRAE norms which says in a data center, the major power consumption, apart from the IT, is taken away by HVAC cooling, 30 plus 8, 38%. So it's a concern and we need to design the right solution. Apart from that, primary cause of an outrage in a data center, apart from power and other stuff, there's cooling. Wrong cooling design, 13%, the data center is down. If you kind of mesh down the cooling figures, temperature is a major concern in any building, 55%. Then we have humidity, vibration, and dust factor. Further, to add to that, astonishing report says that if you don't design the right cooling unit, due to a human failure or a human error, the entire system can be down. So human error takes away a major chunk of it. So we need to design the right solution. So to kind of give you a summarized number, human error 25%, cooling 13%, temperature 55%, cooling and fans 38%. To kind of add salt to injury, part of the global warming, the cooling is taking away close to 23% for the global warming. So all these studies and reports say that we need to kind of design the right cooling solution. When we talk on large buildings, we do have chillers and AHU and fans. And there again, if you see the moment the chillers and the fans and the AHU comes into picture, the percentage is close to 39% power consumption, plus you have the fans and the pumps in the HVAC building. Further, to top it up, the moment you go for a water-cooled chiller, the power consumption, or rather the total power consumption taken away by the cooling tower, is close to 50 to 60%. So these are kind of couple of math I kind of picked up from the different sources. What are HVAC system? Just for the benefit of everyone, are cooling your equipments, which kind of takes care of for the comfort application, comfort cooling, be it the VRV, as Mr. Deepu spoke in the earlier presentation. It could be a split to a cassette, to a chiller, to an AHU package. Applications could be any comfort applications like a commercial building, workstation, and IT. And if you kind of further break it down, the HVAC is also, there is a unit called closed control unit, which is also called as a precision air conditioning unit, very well known as PAC in India. In the UK and Europe, we call it as CCU, which are kind of to precisely control the temperature and the RH in the plus or minus 1 in the temperature and RH in the range of plus or minus 5 for any critical and high sensible application. So this is to give you a flavor of different HVAC system. Now the question is that what are the components? I won't go kind of detail, but it's very important that you select the inverter, variable compressor, as Vinod spoke about VFD. It's very important that you look at VFD, and from a fixed compressor and from a belt plug, you look at EC fan. As I'm talking, you can see the videos playing there. EC fan, then thermostatic valve to electronic expansion valve. And the refrigerant 407 we had R22. We have come out of that to 407, 134A, and now we're talking about HFO. Very important that we select green gas. And as you select any of the HVAC system, the COP should be in line with the ASHRAE, ECBC, and the BE norms. And if you're selecting a normal split AC at home, please see that you select the best star rating. So with that, another I would like to also share with our experience is that apart from selecting the best components in the HVAC system, you need to operate this at a very sweet points. What happens in any HVAC system is that as you operate at 100% load, the power consumption would be at 100%. But as you drop, thanks to the inverter compressor, EC fan, and electronic expansion valve, the power consumption also drops gradually. So here you can see a quick different calculation at 90%, 65. As you drop to 59%, the power consumption is close to 20.5, and you get a benefit of close to 38.5. So it's very important that you operate. Let's say you buy 5 units, rather than keeping the 5th unit as a standby, operate all the 5 units at part load, which would give you a cooling capacity. But the benefit is that you get a lower power consumption as you operate at the part load. Now, so we kind of spoken about the components and what are the operating parameter. The next question is what are the temperature? Now, if you look at a kind of a data center, you have a PAC unit, then you have a rack. So simple math and kind of if you kind of meet any customers or they say that I have to feel cold, then I assume that the server or the human occupancy is also feeling cold. But when I say cold, they say that I have to shiver close to 14, 15 degrees. But what happens is when you operate at those temperature, the power consumption is going to be tremendously high. Thanks to an ASHRAE norms, for the data center to operate the PAC unit, thanks to an ASHRAE norms, it clearly defines the supply air temperature to be between 18 to 27. So what happens is that as you operate, this is a supply air temperature, just a quick calculation, from a 10, 14 to 19, I've taken a conservative number, we could go as high as 27. You could see the cooling capacity of any HVAC system like a PAC and other would slightly increase and the power consumption would decrease. Close to 40 to 50% is the saving on the unit per se. Not only that, if you look at these are the A1, A2 and A4 categories from the ASHRAE norms specifically for the data center. Not only on the temperature, also there is a clear definition of the RH to be maintained at such critical cooling such as data center. Apart from data center, name any commercial building, there is with the COVID and the current pandemic and the new virus kind of, we're talking about the new virus. With the COVID, there is a clear ISHRAE guideline. I would request you to please download that, which clearly says the temperature in any comfort application can be from 24 up to 30, as high as 30, and the RH can be from 40 to 70%. So we spoke on the temperature. So it's very important that we operate the PAC at that 18 to 27 and operate any HVAC or AHU in these gradient to get a better lower power consumption. With this concept, we are talking about free cooling, because free cooling is cooling the space with the free ambient air, keeping in mind of the energy sustainability and the free cold air which is available. Very much important, in line with our ASHRAE norm for data center and the ISHRAE norm for the comfort application. What are the different types of free cooling? Yes, there is direct and indirect. I have each slide on each of this topic. Fresh air, I think the earlier speaker Deepu also spoke on fresh air. Yes, fresh air kind of makes you more energetic and then cleans away the harmful diseases which are there, including the COVID. So fresh air is the top of the town, and it's free cooling is something which we're talking in the last 1 or 2 years in the HVAC system. This is the climate zone which I kind of picked it from the Cooling India. So there I picked up from those document which speaks about different climatic temperature in a place like India. So you could see there is hot and dry, warm, humid, composite, and there are different temperature. Even in the temperature, let's say hot and dry, the temperature starts from 20 to 45. So as per ISHRAE document, it says go up to 30. So up to 30, you could use a free cooling. Beyond that, switch on your DX or the chilled water unit. And then we have other temperature gradient within that bracket. So to talk on the first concept, direct free cooling. Simple, place the unit near the wall and then exposing it to the outside air. What is important? Operating the units within our bracket of the ASHRAE and ISHRAE norms. For a data center, there is a document within the ASHRAE. As long as you're circulating the air without the fresh air, you could use the filter of MERV 8. If the outside air, the contaminated air coming inside, you could look at the MERV 11 and 13. House operation, very simple animated view. The outside air comes inside the space, but the outside air would also have a couple of like the bonus features of the dust, smoke and airborne. That is where we use the filtration through the AHU. So we don't want the outside, the bad air to come inside the space. So we do have filtration which can be used as per the site requirement and the location. Again, what we have with different filtration is the pressure drop would increase. So again, depending upon the application and the type of unit and location, different filters can be used. In a specifically to a data center, we are more worried on the outside contaminated air. Again, there is a ASHRAE norm which talks about the particles limit which should not harm the server blades. So you could refer back to this and then have a solution where you could cross check if those are exceeding these limits. Again, on the silver and the copper particle, you could check on that. Well within that, go for the free cooling. Anything above that, you could look at indirect free cooling. So this is the kind of a summary on the direct free cooling. As I said, how do you operate all of that with the filter and bring in the fresh air? Also, you could refer back to the ASHRAE norms and the ISHRAE COVID guidelines and the REWA COVID guidelines to kind of refer on the specifically on the filter. How do you operate with the ASHRAE norms and the ISHRAE norms? You could look at anything above that gradient of 2730, pull in or switch on the direct expansion chilled water. Anything within the bracket, you could look at free cooling. Anything below, switch off the fans, recirculate until the temperature increases. So with that, I would go to the indirect free cooling. Indirect free cooling. In the direct free cooling, we had the contaminated air coming inside, but in the indirect free cooling, we use the advantage of lower ambient, but the dust and the particle does not enter the space. So this is the small video of the indirect unit where you could see there are two pipe. One is where the DX or the chilled water, the refrigerant would circulate, and another pipe would have a water circuit with an ethylene glycol. Wherever you have a lower ambient, that this circuit comes into picture. So as I said, you have a direct expansion circuit slash the chilled water slash the dual coil, also the free cooling circuit. When I say free cooling circuit, not connected to the chiller, just a circulation of water and ethylene glycol connected to the dry cooler. As the ambient kind of is very low, it operates only in the free cooling, no compressor, no condenser, only the free cooling with the pump. As the ambient increases, it kind of gradually goes from a free cooling and it goes to a mixed mode. What is a mixed mode? Partial of the compressor, partial of the outdoor fan and the EC pump. The temperature shoots high, simple free cooling shuts off and the DX circuit comes into picture. So that's how the indirect free cooling is also there. There are two copper, one pipe would be the refrigerant, another would be the circulation of water. Again, a simple kind of a case study I have taken. Pulling back the ASHRAE norms 18 to 27, let's look at this gradient of supply air temperature of 20 and the retainer of 30, minusing the 5 dead point 25. How do you operate? Anything above 25 gets into a DX slash chilled water slash dual. Anything below that gets into the mixed mode, partial of the free cooling and the DX. Anything very low, and if the ambients are favorable, it gets into the free cooling circuit. So this is the kind of, just to give you a circuit diagram of the free cooling circuit with the outdoor condenser, dry cooler and pump. Of course, there are a lot of advantage, low power consumption. We're talking about energy efficiency, indirect free cooling or direct free cooling would be the best bet. If you kind of pull out, thanks to the ISHRAE 8760R, I pulled out the weather data of Delhi where we see a different temperature. Of course, we could do the simple calculation for other location as well. So here, if you see, close to one, I've taken conservative number, close to 1 month would be the free cooling circuit, and then mixed mode 5 months, and the balance would be catered by the DX. So close to 50% of saving with the DX mixed mode and the free cooling followed by the DX operation. Again, as I get into the couple of last slides, again, there is a, if let's say if you're looking at a large commercial building or a large data center, you would want a larger air handling unit. It's highly recommended that you look at EC fan, which I spoke in the energy sustainability slide. Look at the EC fan, which are running at full load and also at part load. These units would also have an air washer or an adiabatic cooling pad, which would kind of spray water. Again, this is an indirect adiabatic based cooling unit for a larger application, larger capacity. These units would also have a compressor with a damper opening and closing to cool. The compressor can be connected to the compressor DX or even the chilled water unit, depending upon the application site and usage. The airflow would be cross airflow. Depending upon the application, it can be floor mounted or terrace mounted. Here you could see, as I talked, the compressor cooling which is on. It can also be connected to the chiller. You could see the hot air, which is the return air from the room, and the cold air going back to the room. So this is an indirect evaporative cooling. You could see the temperature gradient falling from a 40 to a 27, which is quite massive in terms of the drop, and 30 is what we saw initially. This would kind of meet our number in type of meeting the temperature requirement in the room. It could be, as I said, on the terrace or on the straight on the floor. A different kind of case study from a drop of an ambient 43 to 27, and RH, you should also look out at the RH, is it well within our ISHRAE or the ASHRAE norms, or you could switch on the humidifier, dehumidifier. Added to that, the AHU could also have a cellulose pad to kind of drop that temperature. You could see a 40 to 27 to 21, but again ISHRAE says you could go as high as 30. But if the ambients are very high, 45, 50, you could also look at placing a cellulose pad which could either drop the temperature. Also, you could look at heat recovery where you will have a delta saving of 4 to 5%. Again, as an emerging trend on the cooling unit PAC or the AHU, we have a couple of sites in India where the one circuit is connected to the chiller, and another circuit you have a free cooling water circulation within the plate exchanger and the cooling. So the load per se on the chiller would be less, and you will have a further drop of the temperature close to 5 to 6 degree, close to 30 to 40% of the saving. Operational parameter, different, extremely high, all the components comes into picture. Better mode would be the adiabatic cooling fans. As you drop low, partial of the compressor or the chilled water or the fan would come into picture. Again, just a calculation based on a different location. So if you see the temperature can drop up to 27, close to 63%. Again, a quick math, couple of indirect evaporative cooling units are there. Just a summary of what I spoke. And then to add to that, as I spoke on ISHRAE and ASHRAE norms, higher temperature would also, you could look at higher chilled water temperature, 20 to 27. With that concept, you would have a good saving from a 712 to 21, close to 50% saving. And with that, running at high chilled water supply temperature, you could eliminate the chiller and use a plate exchanger, which is a free cooling unit. You will have a different heat exchanger as well within the chiller, like I showed in the video, where you could eliminate the usage of the compressor. Again, to add to that, you would have a adiabatic pad, which is a free cooling chiller. So a combination of that, as I get into the last slide, combination of air side economizer, water side economizer would give you the best bet on the free cooling. As I get into the last slide, let's ensure energy efficiency as we design any HVAC system. With that, thank you for the time.